Hi friends, I saw a few comments mentioning that you have some difficulty understanding my accent. So I am trying a different voice. The sound is fake, but the words are genuine and my original thoughts. So please let me know whether you like it or dislike it.
Hi friends, I am starting an experiment to grow tomatoes in Aerogarden Bounty Basic. This variety is called Early Girl tomatoes. The plants will normally grow super tall. Let's see if I can manage these plants in Bounty models. I am placing 2 seeds in each pod and starting with 2 pods. My goal is to grow 2 plants in this garden. Depending on the germination, I will thin out the seedlings and keep only 2 plants. Alright, this garden is all set. As always, I will add water, but I will not add the nutrition right away. I will start adding nutrition once I see the seedlings. It's been 6 days. Germination is excellent. All seeds germinated and the seedlings are coming nice. This is a great start. Now that I see the seedlings, I will start adding nutrition. I will use Aerogarden nutrition throughout this grow cycle, and I will start with recommended dosage, which is 12 milliliters at every feeding cycle. Once the plants are well established and started producing flowers and fruits, I may need to bump up the nutrition. Let's talk about it as the plants make progress. Day 11. The seedlings are coming nice. It's time to thin out the seedlings and keep only 1 plant per pod. If you wonder about this small piece of tin foil around the seedlings, I added this tin foil to block the light that is going onto the sponges as much as possible. The hole is pretty big here and there is a lot of gap from which the light will pass through. If the light goes on to the sponge that is wet with nutrition water, the algae will start developing. So, blocking the light as much as possible will prevent development of algae. It's day 20. Plants are coming excellent. I just moved them to the edges so that they will have enough room to grow. The stem's getting strong, and I see some side growth as well. Same pattern on the other plant as well. It's day 29. Plants are doing excellent, and they just started flower buds. This is very exciting. The name, Early Girl, is proving itself. It's day 32. The flower buds are growing healthy. I don't see any signs of blooming yet, but they are getting close. Day 37. I see a few flower buds started blooming. 1 flower at full bloom and 1 more just started opening. Other plant also has a flower bud opening up now. Day 42. Plants are doing excellent. I see a beautiful baby tomato is coming now. And a few more flowers are at full bloom. Same thing with other plant. I see a nice baby tomato coming here. And 1 more flower is drying up, so another baby tomato will show up soon. And I see some new flower buds showing up on this plant. Now I see the plants are touching the lights. I already raised the lights to maximum height. This plant was touching the lights earlier and I already cut the tops. Now the other plant also started touching the lights. So, I am pinching off the top so that it will stop growing tall. Or, at least, it will slow down in growth. I see the side branches are growing nice and they also showing up some flower buds. Day 50. Now I see a few tomatoes reached to a decent size on both plants. And, a few baby tomatoes following the same path. All these tomatoes are looking very healthy. Plants are still producing some new flowers. Not sure if they can survive, but it would be very nice if they turn into tomatoes. A few branches are outgrowing the lights and it is getting difficult to manage these plants in this bounty model. Let's see where will it end up. I see a lot of powdery mildew issue on many leaves and I started removing all the infected leaves. Day 64. Plants are doing excellent. They are not producing a lot of tomatoes. However, the existing tomatoes are growing very nice. Look at this tomato. This is super big. I have been growing cherry tomatoes for a long time and I was always successful. But looking at these bigger tomatoes is a totally different experience. Here are few more tomatoes. They are coming excellent. They are pretty close the size of tennis ball. This is all good, but the plants are growing super tall. They went way above the lights. Now it is getting difficult to manage them, but I totally expected it and prepared to cut them down if I have to. Day 71. The tomatoes are growing very nice. They started changing the colors. I am very excited to see a fully ripened tomato pretty soon. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention one thing about calcium supplement that I started adding recently. I found that the calcium in Aerogarden nutrition is not enough for the bigger sized tomatoes like this. So, I started adding calcium supplement as soon as the plants started baby tomatoes. Let me also mention when and how much calcium I add. I have been adding 5 milliliters of calcium every 14 days. And, I will add it 7 days after the regular feeding cycle for Aerogarden nutrition. Since the Aerogarden nutrition already has some calcium, I don't want to add both Aerogarden nutrition and calcium supplement together, and increase the calcium level too much. So, adding the supplement right in between the regular feeding cycles will balance the calcium. This is what I do with all the bigger sized tomatoes and this is working very well for me. Day 74. I am still waiting for these tomatoes to ripen. They are taking longer than I thought. Now the plants are outgrowing a lot. Look at all these branches. They are too far from the lights. Most part of the plants is still under the lights but some branches are super tall and running all over. And, I don't see any successful flowering on these branches. Few flower buds showed up, but they are not surviving. I don't see any value keeping these branches. So, I will trim all these branches deeply. I think that will help the plants pay attention to tomatoes instead of growing themselves. Day 80. I finally see one tomato started ripening. And, this one also showing some color change. The other tomatoes are not showing any orange or red color yet, but they are getting super close. What an exciting time! As I mentioned earlier, I cut all the branches below the lights. Now these plants should focus more on the tomatoes and kick off the ripening process. Day 82. The first tomato that started ripening earlier just fell off. I see the stem dried up a little bit and it fell off on its own. I see 2 more tomatoes started ripening. That's really good news. Remaining tomatoes just started changing color so they also should be ripening pretty soon. Day 85. The tomatoes have been ripening very well. They are looking so beautiful with bright red color and glossy looks. Here is the other one. The tomato that fell off also fully ripened now. I am still waiting for the remaining tomatoes to start ripening. The plants are showing some new progress and they started some new flower buds as well. Let's see if any of these will survive. Day 87. One more tomato fell off. I see same pattern. The stem dried up and it just fell off. Here is one more tomato fully ripened. I am harvesting it now, before it fall on its own. These are the first 3 tomatoes. Other 2 tomatoes just started ripening. I see some powdery mildew on these plants and I kept on removing the infected leaves. But the new growth is looking very healthy. And, the flower buds also looking healthy as of now. I think this plant is setting itself up for the second crop. Day 90. The remaining tomatoes also ripened and ready to harvest. I will harvest these tomatoes, and set these plants up for the second crop. I see the flower buds are showing nice progress. Let's see how these plants are going to perform on the second crop. Day 100. Petals are drying up on a few flowers. I should see some baby tomatoes soon. Same thing on the second plants. Petals are drying up here as well. This is the same pattern as first crop. I see very few flowers, however they produce nice and big tomatoes close to the tennis ball size. Day 103. The flowers from the second crop dried up and I see baby tomatoes showing up already. This is amazing, and very exciting. The second plant also showing baby tomatoes. What a great journey! Even though these plants are producing very few tomatoes, this is very exciting, and an interesting journey growing these full-size tomatoes that are very similar to beefsteak tomatoes. Overall, I am very happy with this ongoing experiment. So, if you want to try a full-size tomato in Aerogarden, go for Early Girl in Bounty models. That is all for now. Thanks for watching, and happy Aerogardening!